It's 8:35 a.m. Central Time, the time we meet every weekday morning for another Pederscope entitled Keys to Being the Difference. Thank you for joining me. My name is Steve Pederson. I'm your host each and every weekday morning for the Pederscopes. Today's topic is called Get Started. This is, of course, the whole idea of Journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And sometimes it is very difficult to take that first step. Why is that? I think for me, one of the biggest reasons that it's hard to take that first step is because once I take that first step, it sort of takes away, it closes the door on some other steps. I like to have a lot of options in front of me. And I know when I take that first step, I'm closing the door, I'm committing to a certain path, and I'm closing the door on these other options. And that doesn't feel great to me. I like to have all of these options, and so sometimes that leaves me sort of paralyzed. But if we're going to be the difference, then we need to commit to a course and get started on it. So that's one of the blocks. There's all kinds of blocks that can come up as to reasons why we shouldn't get started. Maybe there's some fear involved. Maybe you just think you're not ready. Maybe you think this was a foolish idea to begin with. Whatever the case might be, all kinds of blocks can come up. I want to encourage you to get started anyway. One of my dreams, one of my goals this year is to write a book. Of course, if you've ever had that kind of a dream or goal, whatever it might be, there's usually nothing really pressing. You don't usually have a boss on your tail or over your shoulder saying, do this, do that, micromanaging everything. Often these are, I think what Stephen Covey titled maybe the quadrant 2 goals. They're things that are important, but they're not urgent. And a lot of times those types of things kind of get pushed off to the side. We don't get started on our big dream. Here on the Pederscope, in a previous episode, we talked about your big dream. Of course, big dreams take baby steps to get to them. Standing at the heel of a mountain of dreams, you got to take that first step. Getting started, so very important. Maybe your big dream isn't that huge. Maybe your goal is just to get out of bed in the morning. Maybe that's something. I mean, people struggle with that. That can start with as little as just, hey, let me just turn over and just get one foot out of bed. I mean, just start small. Get started with something. Maybe your mountain that's standing in front of you is your home is just a complete disaster. Every room is messy. There's dirty dishes piling up all over the place. There's dirty laundry all over the place. Every room is messy. Everything is dusty. And you're just completely overwhelmed on where to get started. And instead of getting started, you just like, I think I'm just going to go have some ice cream or something. And watch TV. That's fine to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's that just taking that first step and getting started that is so crucial in beginning to get momentum. Maybe you have a goal this year of overcoming a bad habit or starting some new trends in your life. Getting started, just taking a first step is going to feel great. And that's the main thing, is that feeling, because that's what we're going for, really. I mean, when we think about something down the road that we want to accomplish, a lot of what is associated with that is a feeling. We have this feeling of, wow, wouldn't it feel so great to have overcome this, or have a clean house, or have written this book. And we can get into that feeling immediately by just getting started. We have to avoid the perfection curse. This stops me a lot when I just tend to analyze things so much and think, okay, it's got to be perfect before I get started. If I'm gonna do a speech, it's got to be perfect. I have to rehearse my speech so many times before I get out there and do it. Avoiding the perfection curse will help you to make a difference. There's a proverb that I want to share with you, a couple of them, and one says, those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies will have their fill of poverty. And similarly, another one, all work brings a profit, but mere talk just leads to poverty. So if you have a dream and you're just chasing a fantasy or just talking about it and not actually taking a step towards it, I want to encourage you today to get started, to take the first step. I believe that experience is the best teacher. You have no idea what something takes until you get started and you get in the flow of it. Obviously, getting started is a huge key to being the difference. You can't make a difference, you can't be a difference until you get started. A lot of people will talk about their dreams, a lot of people will fantasize about their dreams. Not everybody has the courage to take that first step and get started. I want to encourage you to do that today with an action step. An action step is just to simply write down on a little sticky note or in your notebook just one thing that you can do to get started, and then post that in a place where you can see it. I'm not even saying you have to take that first step. All I'm saying is to get started, you can simply write it down and put it out in front of you, and you'll have that awareness of it until you actually take the first step. Thank you for joining me on this bitterly cold day in Chicago. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Happy MLK to you today. If you're going to go out and do something for the community, that's great. That's a way to get started. I want to thank you for joining me for the Pederscope. This has been Keys to Being the Difference, episode 11, Getting Started. I'm here every weekday morning at 8:35 a.m. I hope you'll join me. If you're interested in previous Pederscopes, you can find them on my website at stevepederson.com. Have a great day, guys.